I welcome again for welcome you all again for this today interaction with admission team and placement team from the Soil Institute of Management. Today we have Ashish Srivastava, Associate Director Admissions for PGPM program, and we also have Pratik Saxena, Assistant Director for the CMS team. So first, I like Ashish sir to give some brief about the admission process and throw some light on the how we do the admission and how the student can apply, who all can apply. So over to you, sir.
Thanks, Subesh, and very good evening and welcome you all the participants in today's open house webinar on admissions and placements for our Soils flagship PGPM and PGPM HR program. Just one request: if any of the participants have any questions, use this chat box. Use for that to raise your queries. At the end of this webinar, we can just take your queries one by one. So before moving ahead with our this webinar, I just want to show a small PPT uh, for each one of you. Is it visible, Subesh?
Yes, sir. It is full screen as well.
Okay. So before I can just talk about the various aspects related to the admissions of PGPM and PGPM HR program, for those participants who are new to the soil, who are just thinking about to apply to soil, they are eager to know more about the admissions part. But before I can brief you about the admissions and its processes, there is a one question which generally arises, and generally students ask why learning and upgradation is required in today's time. So a quick brief about what is the current business scenario and current what is the changing business environment these days altogether. So if I talk about the changing business environment, everybody knows that COVID pandemic have changed the whole way the whole businesses are operating and working, not only in India but abroad as well. So if I talk about the changing business environment, two terms generally comes up. One is the uncertainties, and another is the VUCA world. Now, if I talk about the VUCA world, then definitely everybody knows the business world has changed dramatically over the past few decades. And we now live in a connected society where changes can be fast-paced, constant, and unpredictable. So rapid advances in technology created an environment where the internet, smartphones, and social media are ubiquitous, and global events such as 2008 financial crisis, the COVID pandemic, and the recent one, the conflict in Ukraine, has increased the sense of turbulence, danger, and unpredictability. A state of flux has replaced the sense of certainty, stability, and familiarity that people were used to. This type of environment can be described using the word acronym called VUCA. VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So this kind of business environment these days are prevalent everywhere, and it's a very challenging, at the same time very competitive as well. How we can sustain in this competitive environment, and how what are the skill set we acquire, it all depends on our person to person, and because of that, lot many people are just thinking about to go for upgradation basically of their skills. Now, based on this changing business environment, what is the future of work? What are the trends which are prevalent these days and can be prevailing in the next 5 years or 7 years down the line? When I talk about the future of work refers to an informed perspective on what businesses and other organizations need to know about how work could shift. Lot many things happen in the social media these days. So given digitalization and other trends, it is very relevant to understand what are the key trends which is currently going on, plus how workforces and workplaces can prepare for those changes, big and small. Accordingly, we have to switch over to and upgrade our skills accordingly. So these are the current scenario, market scenario basically. How Soil through these, two programs offering of PGPM HR program can bridge the gap because of these changing market scenario. So a quick look at the key trends basically. So first is the accelerated learning, obvious, deep work, creativity and empathy, customer centric product development, which is very very essential these days, and conscious capitalism and ethical leadership. So few of the things which is imbibed in the soil philosophy, that is empathy and ethical leadership, which students find in their curriculum, and they can learn how the nitty-gritties of these two major impactful trends basically, future of work. So these are the the market scenario. How if I talk about how soil can bridge this gap, then soil currently offering two flagship programs. One is called PGPM, another is called PGPM HR program. PGPM is a 1 year accelerated MBA program, or we call it business leadership program, for equipping students with core business skills. Whereas PGPM HR is for those students who aspire to be a future HR leader and CHROs basically. So these two flagship programs currently SOIL is offering. Now, the many of the times it happens that students ask why 1 year MBA program, and the second question is why SOIL. So if I talk about in a nutshell that why 1 year MBA program, then all I can say, there are few benefits which I'm seeing which are associated with 1 year program, and that is those are the were very very relevant key benefits of 1 year MBA program. If I talk about, the first one is it will be more cost effective. The second one is you will be able to quickly restart your career. Those who are working professionals, they understand how it is paining that you can leave the earning job, and you can just pursue this program and rejoin any of the corporates later on. Then the third key benefit is the possibility to make a career switch. You can change the career domain, career sectors basically, and so on. The fourth key benefit is you will have a rigorous and focused curriculum. Definitely, these two programs have a very focused curriculum altogether, designed by the soil consortium companies, which I can talk later on. And the fifth and last but not the least key benefit is you will make connections that last much longer than a year. Networking plays an important role in today's highly competitive world. In if you want to survive all those challenges of the fast changing environment, then you have to be networked well in order to to survive in this job market. So these are the the key benefits which I feel makes these programs relevant in today's highly competitive world. Now the question arises, why soil? Why anyone can join this soil? What is the key things which soil is currently offering through these two programs? So few of the relevant things which I feel to discuss about here is, first is the consortium companies which we talked about in our brochures as well. The 32 consortium companies which fuel soil. So soil, I think most of you have know about that. Soil is co-created by a whopping 32 companies, including multinational Indian companies. They have an involvement in all the programs like workshops, mentorship projects, job opportunities, and of course the admission process as well. The second benefit of joining soil is the location advantage. Definitely, soil campus is based in Gurgaon, and Gurgaon is is the hub of more than 1,000 startups and more than 500 corporates, which are stationed in periphery of 1 kilometer, and so it's also the service capital of the globe and business hub of India. Everybody knows about that. So it's an opportunity for everyone who joins soil because of this location advantage. The third one is the social innovation program, which is a very unique opportunity and unique program offering from soil, which differentiates soil from other BA schools. So there are two modules basically. One deals with the social innovation program, and another deals with the mentorship. So social innovation program, where students get an opportunity to work closely with an organization dedicated towards the community development. And through this program, they can learn the empathy part basically. And the second is the mentorship program, where each students have assigned a mentor, both internal mentor and the corporate leader as an external one. A great way to career guidance, building network, and achieving career goals. So these two unique programs are there, which makes this soil apart from other B schools. Then the last one is the innovative learning design curriculum altogether. Curriculum development, curriculum design, and program delivery is plays an important role if I talk about any of the B schools basically. So I'll have a very unique curriculum design process as well, where they have involved all these 32 consortium companies to design and develop and upgrade their curriculum from time to time. So these are the the crux of the soils to 1 year two programs. 1 year flagship PGPM and other is the flagship PGPM HR program. Now have a quick recap about the admission process altogether, which I want to discuss with you all. Anybody who wants apply for this PGPM program or PGPM HR program, they have to visit our website. Our form filling process is online basically, so you have to visit our website, fill the form online. So the first stage is application form filling. Once you complete your application by in terms of payment, application payment of 2,000 rupees, then the first shortlisting happened. First shortlisting based on your profile, your academic credentials, and so on. And then comes the second shortlisting part, which is totally virtual as of now, and it happens in a single day process altogether. The single day process start with our stat exam, though we considered few of the competitive exam scores as well, just like CAT, SAT, and MAT, GMAT as well. But SOIL can also conduct their own test, and it is mandatory for each and every applicant to just gone through that stat. So first stage is the stat exam. Then we can move ahead with the life map exercise. Life map exercise is all about your highs and lows, which you feel so is relevant in your life. And then you have to map all those events in a graph manner and just write a paragraph about that. And then comes the group simulation activity. It's just like a group discussion altogether, where we can give you a case study and you have to discuss in the group. And then finally the personal interview round comes, where a panel of experts can interview you, and they can just analyze your suitability for this program. So all these stat exam, life map, group simulation, personal interview as of now is happen on online on Zoom, basically is virtual. And then based on the shortlisting process and the recommendation from the panelists, we finally make a list of offers and roll out the offer letters. And then finally, once you pay the registration fees, then the admissions happened. So this is the process where we can we can follow towards the admission process basically. Two things which is very relevant, which I want to discuss with all of you, is application deadline. To apply for this PGPM or PGPM HR program, the application deadline is 18 March, which is the coming Saturday, which is very relevant, and those who are interested, they can fill the online application by 18th March itself. It's a profile-based evaluation round where, as I said earlier, we are considering different key competitive scores. Candidate not having eligibility test scores can also apply and submit their forms. Selected candidates will be invited for their GPI process. This is their profile, and then have to appear for SOIL own admission test called STAT, SOIL Talent Appreciation Test. The factors that we look at during the shortlisting process are academic scores, leadership potential, extracurriculars, award and achievements, and exam scores basically. The second important thing which I want to discuss is the GIPI dates. Group activity and PI dates are basically, as of now, 18th March and 25th March. These are probably the season's last dates. So those students who can apply by 18th of March, they have the flexibility to appear for group activity or PI on 18th March or 25th March. So those who wants to apply, they have to make it quickly to apply and select these 2 dates, available dates basically. We are available. Our official website page is www.soil.edu.in. Anybody who wants to know more about us or know more about the program, they have visit our website. They can download our brochures. Admission brochure and placement brochure both are available online. Anybody can just visit and just download it. Or in case if you have further inquiries, you can write to us at admissions@soilindia.net. You can also connect us on the given number. The resources besides me, Sobhesh Ranjan is there, who can assist you at each and every stage of your application, and we can guide you in a better way basically. Any questions, you can just drop in the chat box later on. So that's all from my side regarding the admissions. Now I just move over to my colleague Prateek, who can discuss more about the placement opportunities. Over to you, Prateek.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your giving the brief about the admission process of the 1-year PGPM program of SOIL. Now I'd like to invite Prateek to give some light on the placement process that we follow at SOIL. Over to you, Prateek.
Thank you, Shobhesh. Thank you, Ashish, for that session. I think from an admissions point of view, queries would have been handled very well by now. Okay, so welcome all of you to this session on placements. My name is Prateek Saxena. I lead the career services for the PGPM program. So I'll start by building on what Ashish mentioned about, the consortium partners that we've had and the kind of interaction we build over the year with those consortium partners. Of course, it's not a very elaborative list, but there are many more recruiters and many more corporate partners that we have. But this 32 consortium companies that we talk about, we have a deep connect at an institution level with all of them, where they not just help our students, prepare for placement, but also continuously being attached to enable to make sure that the curriculum that we have throughout the year is highly enriching and it is very relevant to what the industry needs are. Right. So I'll keep it very short for you guys. So I'll give you quick key pointers that you should know about the SOIL placements before you start with these, and I'll happily answer whatever these you have in terms of your placements after this. So two key pointers that I will give you as far as the placements are concerned from the PGPM point of view, we are almost through with 85% of the batch as we speak, and the rest remaining 15%, the processes are ongoing in the campus. We have companies coming to campus continuously and evaluating our students. So, or remaining 15% of the students are also preparing for interviews on a daily basis. This year has been phenomenal. We are averaging about 12 lakhs for the PGPM program. Of course, with highest being 19 lakhs that has been offered by consulting by one of our prominent IT companies, which is Accenture. This year, we had some marquee new recruiters. We started the season with a bang with Gartner participating in the campus drive. Then we had brands like Ryana Health, Royal Enfield, of course, all the major IT companies, Cognizant, Accenture, Infosys, Genpact, Wipro, whatever you can think of in the ITES space. And then we also had a mix of new companies, especially in the tech area, where Ashish started by saying that, in uncertain times, job roles are turning, the VUCA world is now active. So all the companies who are using technology as an enabler, we had a lot of them also participating in the campus season this year. So it has been a good mix. If I could share a quick brief about the kind of roles that come to campus. So the ITS companies have primarily offered technology consulting role to our students. Marketing students chose between a plethora of roles where they chose between roles into products, role into growth, role into, e-sales roles into business analysts, and so on and so forth. Analytics students in our cohort primarily had roles like data scientists, business analysts, and so on and so forth. And of course, in HR, we had a plethora of roles coming in, starting from your traditional management trainee roles to going to HR BP, to people in talent acquisition, people in HR consulting. So this is a good mix of batch that we had this year, and all sorts of roles that I just mentioned briefly about each specialization that we offer. I think we are seeing a good response from the recruiter this year. We had so far, so we have a batch size of about 104 students, and we already have about 65 odd companies already in the campus who've been participating and evaluating soil students. So this has been fantastic year. So yeah, that is it from a placement perspective. Career services team does throughout the year is, when you join soil program, one thing that is for sure is that you will have many sleepless nights, right? So it's a crunch program. It's a 1-year program where you will be juggling multiple things. There'll be case studies, there'll be competitions, there'll be assignments, then there'll be the pressure of placements will start building into the program right after 2 or 3 months. As a careers team, we will enable you at every step by first exposing you to the kind of industries, the kind of sectors, the kind of domains, companies that are about to come in the placement season for the next year. Then there'll be a separate session on how to build your resume, because most of the people that come in the 1-year program are looking for a specific kind of a role. Most of them are looking for a career transition, which I'm sure many of you would also be looking at. And so there'll be an entire session, and then there'll be an entire engagement throughout the year where you'll be mentored by external mentors, internal mentors, and you'll be going through a series of activities like your group discussions, your mock PIs, your aptitude tests, and so on and so forth. So let's say if your program begins in the month of May, by September or October, you should be ready to face any sorts of interview that come your way in the soil program. So as soon as the companies start sharing the job roles that they're hiring for us for a particular year, share those requirements with the students, and then students start applying this as the different eligibility criteria of each companies. And then of course, each company has its own customized process where they evaluate students on certain parameters. It may be your technical knowledge, maybe your past work experience, or maybe, your qualities, your strengths, and so on and so forth. So it's a mixed badge of qualities which each company looks out for. So, and that is how the process rolls, somewhere starting October or early November. And then by February or March, we close that cycle. So it's a fantastic year we had this year. And I think going ahead, very soon we'll be touching that 100% placement mark. And of course, the list of companies and recruitments will very much be available on the placement report that we publish on the website. That is it from my side. I tried giving you a sense of what happens and how it does and what are the roles that come to soil. I'll be happy to take any questions from any of the participants. I believe there are 20 odd participants in this session. I think we can now formally open this forum for questions. So anybody who has any questions from me or Ashish, we'll happily answer.
Thank you, Pratik. So I request attendees to write the question in the Q&A section or in the chat box. Q&A will be the better. I'll take each question one by one, so it will we'll cover all before we close this session. So there are a few questions already there. Like Priyank is asking, hi, those who are having below 60 in 10th and rest more than 60 in 12th and graduation, what is the placement criteria for the PGPM? Probably Pratik, this.
Okay, so I'll take that. Priyank, thank you so much for your question. I think what you're trying to understand is, if you have a percentage which is below 60% in 10th and rest you're saying is above 60, what is the placement criteria for PGPM? So Priyank, just to give you a quick context into this, we have both internal parameters and external parameters. When we talk about external parameters, each company has its own set of rules wherein they would like to evaluate students basis their academic score, which may or may not be 60. If you specifically talk about IT companies, they look out for students who have 60% throughout their academics. So that is one of the eligibility criteria. Having said that, if I had to give you a rough number about, let's say, if let's say 10 companies participate in the placement season, out of that 7 would look for this kind of a 60% eligibility criteria. There will be another 30% of the companies where there's some flexibility in terms of your academic grades allowed. Then they expect you to perform exceptionally well in your MBAs and get a grade that is much higher than the minimum eligibility criteria. So if you score well in your MBA and thereafter, some amount of grace could be given to some percentage that is below 60%. That is the external criteria that we have. Internal criteria is for you to be eligible for sitting for placement, you had to have a grade of 60% in your MBA. So anybody who does not have that kind of a grade is restricted from sitting for or appearing for any placement process. As a rule, my advice will all of you will be to work hard in your MBA and ensure that you have at least a 60% throughout, right? So that it's a smooth ride. You can apply and appear for as many company and as many processes as possible. So I think I've answered your question there. Batch size for PGPM 23-24. Prashant, I think I mentioned that in my session just few minutes back. For the PGPM, we have a batch size of 104. STAT full form. Prashant, I think you missed that in the presentation that Ashish showed. STAT is the Soil Talent Appreciation Test, which is like our in-house test, which every student has to appear for who's looking for an admission into the PGPM program. Shashank Shambhu is asking, should the candidates have to visit the soil campus for STAT or other exams, or we can give it online? As I'm working, it will be very helpful if the exam is online. Ashish, you mind taking that?
Yes, Pratik. Shashank, basically, as I said earlier, we are, conducting the admission process as of now online through virtual mode through Zoom, basically. So all these STAT test and the PI process happened online, basically. No need to come to the campus. Yes, if you do visit our campus, you are most welcome. But regarding this selection process, everything is online. So no need to come. You have to fill the form online. You have to appear for this admission process online. And then finally, when we roll out the offer letter, you are most welcome to, to visit anytime to us. So every process is online as of now.
So I think Prashant is asking the next question. How old is the Soil PGPM program? Okay, so Soil, I think 14 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
2008 was
We started in 2008, Ashish. I mean, it's a established program, but again, we treat every batch as its first batch, so you can be rest assured on that. Veda is just saying good evening, sir. Thank you so much, Veda. Good evening to you as well. There's an anonymous attendee who's asking, sir, I heard that Soil does not provide a diploma and just provides a certificate. Can you please elaborate on that? I would, Ashish, you want to take that?
Basically, this is a postgraduate diploma program, not a certificate kind of thing. So we are, that's why we call it PGPM program. It's a diploma program, not a certificate one. Certificate programs are different one, which is of a shorter duration. This is a 1 year, 12 months program, supported by this placement opportunities altogether. So I hope I have answered this this question.
Great, thanks, Ashish. I think next question is from Rohit. Rohit is saying, hi, sir. What will be the cutoff for NMAT? Again, Ashish, this is something that you'll have to.
Rohit and other, participants who just know about, so there are two different, programs altogether. One is a Flagship PGPM and PGPM HR program, and another is the PGDM program, postgraduate diploma program, basically. So for both the programs, the eligibility criteria are a little bit, different from each other. In PGPM program, though we considered, as I said earlier, we considered some competitive scores like CAT, ZAT, NMAT, and GMAT. So for NMAT, we are considering the score of 210 and above. If you look at the screening point, then in PGPM program and PGPM HR program, besides this competitive scores, we can also, judge your, and we can also, analyze your profile, your academic credentials, and so on. In PGDM, basically, the first screening happened basis of this, this competitive scores, CAT, ZAT, NMAT, CMAT, and MAT as well. Whereas in PGPM, we are, besides considering this competitive scores, we also consider your profile. One thing. Second thing, most of the, applicants have want to know whether we, if any students have appeared for the CAT, ZAT, and they have the valid scores, whether he or she should have to appear for the stat test or not. A stat test is mandatory for each and every applicant, irrespective of their they have appeared for the competitive scores or not. Because the stat test is not a normal aptitude kind of test. It's a basically psychometric test where we can also analyze your behavior, your aptitude, your attitude, all together. And it's a mix of different questions, basis of the psychometric questions, and as well as some aptitude and reasoning questions as well. So stat is compulsory irrespective of the cat mat basically. Hope Rohit, I have answered your questions.
I think yes, Ashish. So Veda has the next question. Sir, I am not cleared at or the competitive exam. Can I still join PGDM in this college? Veda, I think for PGDM, I think you can connect separately. I think Ashish or anyone from the admissions team will be.
Veda, as I said earlier, for PGDM program, the initial shortlisting happened basis of the SCAT, ZAT, and NMAT and MAT scores basically. So because they are not administered this stat test. Stat test is especially we administered for this PGPM and PGPM HR program only. So for in case if you are interested for PGDM, you have to do be scorecard of any of the competitive scores which they are administered. With the hope I have answered your query.
Great. I think the next question is from an anonymous attendee, which says for PGPM 1-year program, can I apply for sabbatical in my current organization? Okay, so I'll take that, Ashish.
Yes, go ahead.
So yes, you can definitely apply for a sabbatical in your current organization. As we mentioned, the list of 32 consortium companies that we had, every year about 5 to 10% of the students join us from one of the consortium partners, primarily TCS or let's say Tata Steel. So these companies, there are a lot of students who join us every year and are on sabbatical. But again, since they are on sabbatical, they tend to join the organization they took a sabbatical from. So as an option, sabbatical is definitely something that you can opt for. Yash Vardhan Rajput is asking, sir, I have a 220 NMAT, 76 in 10th, 62 in 12th, 81 in graduation. How likely is that I will get a call for 2-year program?
2-year program.
Yes, I think the scores, looks pretty okay, but getting a call is something that depends upon a lot of other parameters, right? For that, you'll have to wait for evaluation and your GEPI exercise and your panel interviews to happen. And I think based on the cumulative scorecard of all these activities, post that the decision will be taken whether you should be getting a call or expecting a call or not.
One thing, Pratik, I would like to add that
sure.
in case one of the students have asked for sabbatical, basically this is March going on, and we are going to start this PGPM and PGPM HR program in the second week of May. So those students who are working and they just inquired, because every organization have certain months of notice period. So those who just planning for upgrading their skills or wants to go for the higher learning opportunities, I request to apply to us as early as possible, because in case if you have 2 or 3 months of notice period, and if you decide in later months, then it could be difficult for you to join this program. So just think a little bit early, and in case if you are interested, just fill your application as early as possible.
Thanks, Ashish. I think the next question is also something that you can take. Shashank Shambhu is again asking, what is the cutoff for MAT exam?
For Shashank, for MAT examination, basically in PGPM and PGPM HR program, we are not considering MAT. Basically, MAT is considered by 2 years PGDM program, and the cutoff is basically 90 percentile and above. So in case if you have, you can just inquire from the 2-year PGDM admission team.
Great. So, oh my God, Rahul has a lot to say. Rahul, hello, sir. I will join Soil Gurgaon to pursue PGPM HR. I have 2 questions. First, to become competent during placement season, what skills should I acquire? Lot, apart from
Apart
MS
from
Excel, I think that is what you're saying. Second, I got 58% in undergrads, but I have also worked in TCS for 3 years. Also worked in 3 NGOs and also worked as HR generalist intern for 3 months in a startup. Will I get any good HR role in companies? What other skills shall I equip before starting the course? Rahul, I think that's a great question, and I think this is for everybody and not just for anybody who's pursuing PGPM HR. Answer your first question: to become competent during the placement season, Ashish, I think there's start early. It's always better that you start early. First and the foremost thing I would suggest is start reading. Start getting into the habit of reading and develop a good reading speed. Because once you are, once you start the PGPM journey, and since it's a 1-year course, it's a lot of pressure that you have to deal with. You will be bombarded with a lot of case studies, a lot of competitions and this and that. So if you don't have a good reading speed, you'll not be able to finish whatever task is assigned to you well in time. You'll always have that pressure of lagging behind. So a good habit to build on right now is start reading as much as possible, different domains. I would suggest start reading from the domain that you're not at all comfortable in. Let's say if you have worked in TCS and you're one of those techies, uh, you know, starting for you to expand your horizon, a good take would be to start studying, let's say, psychology or something, any subject that is completely irrelevant to you, so that you can develop that broader horizon about life. And once you develop a good reading speed, you will realize that you can quickly analyze things, you can quickly understand what and also articulate better. So that is first. Develop a good reading habit. Second, Ashish, when the placements happen, the company look out not just for what your technical competencies are. Uh, of course, there will be questions around your technical knowledge when you will be appearing for HR interviews. How well do you understand the HR processes, whether it is talent acquisition, whether it is learning and development, whether it is performance management system, whether it is HR consulting. You understand that is one part of it, but it is always good to have a knowledge of what is happening in and around the country. Your general awareness should be high. You should be well versed with what is the latest happenings, what is the latest technology that is happening in that HR space for you, and what are the traditional practices, what you can bring to your table, what are your strengths. So if you could start figuring that out for yourself, I think you will be prepared much better. Second, your question is, I got 58% in undergrad, but again, I think you're in terms of profile, as I actually mentioned, since you have 58%, there are a few organizations that are very adamant to have a 60% throughout academic record. As I mentioned earlier, there will be organization who will, give you some kind of leeways in terms of academics if you have performed exceptionally well in your MBA, right? So first and the foremost thing for you should be to have a great point that is uh, not just the minimum, but a good score for you, for the companies to consider you as an eligible candidate. That is number one. And of course, yeah, the work experience that you have just mentioned, 3 NGOs as a HR journalist in a startup, I think every work experience that you have in life brings something to the table. And of course, with all these work experience that you have mentioned, uh, I think if you are able to articulate well, if you are able to present yourself well in the interview, I think all these things will add values. Apart from that, what skills that you require, I think start practicing your communication. Start practicing in front of mirror. How do you introduce yourself? How do you articulate your thoughts better? These are few things that you can start preparing before you get into PGPM program. So that's it. Aditi again is asking, sir, cutoff for CMAT. I think Aditi, Ashish has already clarified that in one of the previous questions. Ashish, you want to repeat that again?
Aditi, the thing is that the best range for CMAT score, if we talk about in terms of cutoff, is between the scores of 250 to 300. In terms of percentile is 80 to 85% and above, basically. So in case if you have, your chances for shortlisting is more.
Great. So there's another anonymous attendee, sir. This is not a question, but more of a request. Can I have some idea about my selection? I had my admissions process conducted on 3rd March, and I know we had to wait till the end of the month. A college to which I had applied earlier is asking me to pay 50,000 before 16th March. It would be a lifesaver for me. Ashish, again, something that you can knowledge.
So I think you have a very relevant question altogether, but I don't know why you have not mentioned your name. First of all, you have to clarify which program you have applied for, whether it's the PGPM, PGPM HR, or whether it should be PGDM. Because I think you had applied for PGDM. I think so, because as per the dates, it could be more matched with the PGDM program. So you have to inquire from the PGDM team basically. You can just take out the numbers from our website. So there is a separate program altogether which is running simultaneously, and there is a separate admission team altogether, and simultaneously we have a different contact numbers as well. So for PGDM, you have to connect with the PGDM admission team. They can clarify your shortlisting stage, whether you have shortlisted or not. Yes.
Right, so the next question is again from an anonymous attendee. Sir, what should be the score of GMAT for joining PGDM program? Again.
Again, in case if you have applied for GMAT basically, then all I can say is score of above 650 is appropriate for for the shortlisting. So in case if you have scored above 600 or 650, it could be beneficial for you.
Great, again. So
Yes.
another anonymous attendee is asking, sir, startup experience considered.
Yes.
Anonymous, I think you're asking in terms of the placements or for eligibility part of it for the program.
Both.
Okay, maybe we'll for both, sir. Okay.
Yes.
So what I can say is, I see anonymous user. The eligibility criteria as far as the work experience for your admissions is concerned, you had to have a 2 years of work experience, right? If the startup is registered and if you have one of the three things that I'm about to tell you, your experience can be considered valid. If you have your offer letter, the leaving letter, and the salary slips. If you have all the three documents, that experience can be considered. Second, if you don't have any of the above that I just said, if you have let's say a bank statement that verifies that you got salary for whatever time duration that you are mentioning your work experience, it can be considered. And again, third, if not that, we would request you to get one of those documents. But if either of the documents is not there, or either if you have a salary slip, and for the salary slip also, you show your PAN number should be mentioned on your salary slip. If you don't have any of the either two documents, I think in that case, the experience will not be considered for both placements and admissions. If you have either of the two or both, then it's absolutely fine. You can consider that experience. Again, another anonymous attendee is asking, sir, please clarify difference between MBA and PGDM program. Ashish, again,
Okay,
something
so
that you can take up.
yes, basically, if I go into the technical terms and clarify the difference, it could take a longer time. But in short, all I can say is, if we in general parlance, if I talk about MBA management programs, so in management programs we have degree programs, we have postgraduate diploma programs, and sometimes we have certificate programs as well, called executive MBA programs, kind of things. So general difference between MBA and PGDM is MBA, if I talk about in terms of degree, so the degree program is called MBA, and PGDM is all about PG, postgraduate diploma program basically. So all the institutes which are governed by AICT are eligible to give this PGDM program. They can take the AIU certification as well later on to make it equivalence to MBA program. Whereas all the universities which are offering multiple programs, they are generally offer this MBA program. Now even the IMs are giving this MBA kind of degree programs altogether. Earlier they are giving this PGDM itself.
Great. So I think that brings us to the end of the queries that we had.
Yes.
We can wait for a minute. If anybody has any more queries in terms of admissions, placements, we'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, we can call this session off.
Yes. In terms of admissions, if anybody is interested, our contact numbers are given in the website. Request to just visit the website first. Each and every program details, the curriculum details, the placement, the admission brochure, each and every details are given there. Just gone through that. In case if you require further clarity, request to just connect with us. We are available Monday to Sunday altogether in this admission season, because this is the last leg of admissions going on. I hope we have already done up with maximum of the admissions part. Few of the seats remaining. So all those who are interested, just request to visit our website, gone all through the details, and if further interested, just fill up that application form as early as possible before 18th of March. Just remember this application deadline. This could be the last application deadline, so you have to apply to us before or on 18th of March, because we have to process and we have to align you for our admission process further, where we can conduct the stat test and the personal interview round. So all those who are interested, request to apply us as early as possible. Any other further? Okay.
Great. I think we are.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a few more questions again from the anonymous attendee. He's asking, how much scholarship, as my father is a defense person?
Yes. One thing which I have not covered during my this presentation is the scholarship part. In terms of financial assistance, we have this multiple categories of scholarships available. For example, merit-based, need-based, defense category, then women in leadership category, and earn while you learn scholarships. So all these scholarships are available based on the eligibility criteria. Once you fill the application form, then you have to decide which category of scholarship you want to apply based on the eligibility criteria. So as you said, as your father is in defense personnel, you are eligible for Captain Vikram Batra scholarship. As far as the amount is concerned, that is decided by the scholarship committee. So first you can fill the application form, just fill up this, complete this scholarship, credentials as well. And then based on the scholarship committee recommendations, you will get to know how much scholarship you will get basically. So amounts are different. That's why I'm not able to to clarify you how much you will get, whether it should be 1 lakh, whether it should be 1.25, whether it should be 1.50. It all depends on the scholarship committee, how they can screen your profile, and based on a small interview, they can just decide the final amount basically. Yes, Pradeep.
Great. So again, anonymous attendee is asking, fully residential program PGPM, sir.
No, I don't think. I mean, I must say this is not a residential program altogether, because residential program, if I talk about, then it should be the hostel facilities within the campus one. Hostel facilities we are offering, but that is not within the campus. So all I can say, this is not a fully residential program. Yes, in case if you require this hostel facilities, we offer these kind of facilities as well. But yes, it's a full-time program. The classes will happen, and then there's a attendance compulsion as well in terms of percentages. So it's a full-time program, but not a residential one. Yes.
Okay, so Priyank is asking, sir, in which companies I will sit, as I'm having 60% in 60% in 10th, 70% in graduation, 65% 12th. Companies won't consider IT companies won't consider. So Priyank, as I already mentioned earlier, right, there's a handful of companies who consider and have the strict eligibility criteria. But apart from that, there have obviously a group of companies that don't have this strict eligibility criteria, and they look out for other parameters and your performance in the MBA program. So giving you an exact name of the company in which you will sit is really difficult at this point of time, because every year the companies that participate in the placement process differs, and the kind of roles that they hire for also differs. So basis your profile, we'll have to see what kind of companies profile is ideal for, what are you aspiring to do in the future, and basis that. So if you're looking specifically to get into an IT company, irrespective of the role that they have for, I think you'll have a good amount of opportunities where you can get interviewed. But again, giving you an exact name of the company at this point of time will be really difficult. No, so Kishore Jha is asking, sir, from point of view of placements and job, which one, MBA or PGDM, which one is better? Kishore, I think that this is a constant question that we get across, every webinar that we do. So, I mean, there's no preference from a recruiter's point of view, whether you are an MBA student or you are a PGDM student, as long as you are a smart individual and you have understood what MBA is all about, you have performed well, I think companies are open to evaluate you. So irrespective of the fact whether you do an MBA or PGDM, as long as you are making the cut in terms of your strengths, your eligibility, I think this does not make much of a difference. Anonymous attendees once again asking, how many days will the whole admission procedure should take? Again, I think Ashish, question for you.
All I can say, once you fill the application form, within few days we can align you. As I said earlier, we have 2 dates available for the GEPI dates. So 18th March and 25th March. So for example, if you fill the application as on date, and you can choose this 25th March. So 25th March, within a gap of 7 to 10 days, you will complete your this admission procedure altogether. Then within 5 to 7 days, within a week times, we can declare the result. So the whole procedure, you can say, take not more than 10 days altogether. One Priyank Srivastava knows about no backlog in my BTech.
No backlog, which is great, Priyank. I think if you have no backlog, that's obviously great. But I think your point was in reference to your question earlier, so I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
So again, so we have one more question where the anonymous user is asking, does HUL recruit from soil for HR profiles? I presume that you're talking about Hindustan Unilever as an organization. HUL we engage with every year. They have offered our students internships, etc. in the past, but so far they have not hired for a full-time HR role. But we, of course, had them participate in the process, but so far we haven't been successful in getting a HR student placed there.
One anonymous caller, I'm just looking at the questions, is asking about how much extra expense incur for a year in Gurgaon. So, all I can say, besides this tuition fees, you have to incur expense in terms of your boarding and lodging facilities, in terms of hostel expenses. So hostel expenses in Gurgaon, you can expect double occupancy expenses can happen in the range of 8 to 10,000 per month. And if you go for the single occupancy room, then it costs around 15 to 16,000 per month. So between 1 lakh to 1.8 or 2 lakhs max to max can happen, besides your your pocket money, which could be the extra one. So that's the extra expense you have to incur.
Again, so we have one more question from the anonymous attendee. Why don't you share your name? We'll be happily acknowledging your name.
Yeah.
Exam pattern for PGPM, please. Websites mention 3 terms.
Definitely. I mean, we have divided this whole program of 12 months into 3 terms, basically, of 4 months each. And every term have just like a semester examination. So every term has a terms examination. You have to appear and you have to clear the term examinations in order to qualify for this PGPM diploma program, basically.
I think that brings us to the end of the Q&A session. And there are no further questions that we have. Great. I think thank you so much, everyone.
I hope we have covered in terms of admission, in terms of placement, we have covered maximum queries, and I hope those attendees who have joined us today have get their queries answered. Those who have not ask any questions, and in case if they have further queries, they are asked to connect through either phone call or through this email address we have already mentioned, this website as well as my PPT also. So I think Pratik, we can say thanks to all attendees who have joined us for today's webinar. We are really thankful to you. Hope we have answered your queries well. And in case if you have any further queries, do connect with us in the meantime.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for joining in. Signing off. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thanks a lot. Kishore, you want to know the number basically. So numbers is already mentioned the website. Request to just just visit our website and in contact us page. You will find all the details. PGPM have a different number and PGDM have a different number. Thanks.